All right, guys. Representative Khanna was on Fox News here, and he said something about Biden that it's not going over well, to say the least. Let's listen.
I have confidence in the president. I just said that to the New York Times. I respect him. I still think he's our best bet to defeat Donald Trump. I believe Donald Trump's going to be the nominee. I think he'll destroy DeSantis. We can get into that at a later time. And I think Biden is the best bet to carry the Midwest. But there are places where I disagree, obviously, with the administration on Saudi policy is one of them.
Yeah.
I have confidence.
I mean, this is inexcusable, right? Forget about the conversation about like the horse race angle of like who can beat who, who's our best bet to beat who. Let's talk about Biden from a policy perspective. How have you been governing? Like, what are you doing? And the answer is not much. He ain't doing much. And so you look at a guy who in some polls has as low as a 33% approval rating. There's one poll that says 71% of the country says he shouldn't run again. You have the high gas prices. You have inflation. You have all these issues. And he's not breaking out his executive order pen. He's not applying pressure to the obstructionist Democratic senators. He is a defeated man. A defeated man who can't even control his own staffers, who look at him like he ain't matching the moment right now. And you, Khanna, are going to support him? You're going to say, oh yeah, him against Trump in 2024? I mean, look, that is tantamount to saying that the status quo that Biden has currently given us is acceptable, right? Because you're saying, hey, let's have 4 more years of that, 2024 and on. That's what you're saying, is that status quo is preferable. But it's not. It's just not. It is not at all. You're talking about somebody who has the authority to abolish student loan debt right now if he wants to. He's not doing it. He has the authority to legalize recreational marijuana right now if he wants to. He's not doing it. He has the authority to free all the nonviolent drug offenders right now if he wants to. He's not doing it. He has the authority to take our jackboot off the throat of the country of Afghanistan, which is now experiencing famine because we're not releasing their own money back to them. He's not doing it. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so you look at that situation and you say, yeah, because Trump is worse. We have to have more than just basically like a neo-fascist in Donald Trump, who's open about the fact that he wishes he did a coup, right? And followed through on that, versus the ultimate of status quo defenders, which is Joe Biden. This is not it, man. This is like, it's just the lowest bar ever. Now, you want to have the conversation about 2024? We can have the conversation about 2024. I would far prefer Marianne Williamson or Raphael Warnock or John Fetterman. Like, there are names that are in the conversation that I think would make far superior candidates. But to just look at the current landscape and say, yeah, look, I would much prefer Khanna said, well, I think Bernie should take another crack at it. I'd much prefer that, even though I have issues with Bernie, and there are issues there that we've talked about and we can talk more about. But I would have much preferred that, because at least you're aspiring to something. To say this, it's like you're aspiring to perpetual failure and the status quo. That's what you're doing. That's what this is. Let me aspire to continued failure and the status quo. I hate it. I hate that. I hate it with a burning passion. I think it's insufferable. And by the way, I don't know, when you look at the polls, I don't know how he can make the argument he's making. You know, it was like 61% said they don't want Trump to run again, but 71% they don't want Biden to run again. The polls now with young people fully abandoning Joe Biden because they feel like Joe Biden's abandoned them. So how can you say, yeah, he's the guy? The guy who everybody hates, who is even shitting on the base institutions that propped him up, like the pro-choice groups that he's now given the finger to. I don't know where this comes from, man. This is super disappointing from Khanna. It really is. You just, sometimes you're in Washington a little too long. You get that Washington, D.C. brain, and you just lose touch. You lose touch with the people. And that's exactly what this is. I mean, there's no other way around it. You cannot get your finger more off the pulse than this. And I don't know, maybe he's angling because he stays in good graces with Biden and then there are political favors in return to him down the road and or whatever. But, dog, you are chaining yourself to a sinking ship is what this is. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.